last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again. There's a bad guy coming through. Better get out of his way.
Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
Introduce a little anarchy.
The Frankie Nieto Show.
We're the middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is the spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. Very, very historic.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Sway is locking eyes with an undercover cop on the subway. You know what he is, and he knows what you are, and you wink at him.
The Frankie Nieto Show.
I'm the enemy, because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit with a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati and a non-smoke acceptance. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener.
There can be no bad blood between those who've experienced the same pain.
Fuck damnation, man. Fuck redemption. We are God's unwanted children. So be it!
We have succumbed to mindless ritual and seductive ceremony. Place faith in those who cross descent, enrich themselves with power, commit atrocity, all in the name of righteousness.
Jesus was black, Ronald Reagan was the devil, and the government is lying about 9/11.
Try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this latest edition of the Frankie Nieto Show. I am always, as always, your host, Frankie Nieto. Well, it's, 2014, it's a brand new year. We should try something a little different. I guess some introductions are done. Hope you dig the new intro music, and if you're a first-time listener, I hope you digged it anyway. For those that have been following me and every now and then like a YouTube video or SoundCloud, or share us on SoundCloud, Facebook, I appreciate you and thank you for your continued patience with me. I hope to get better and hope to do this better, and I'm just glad to be having the opportunity to make my voice heard. Well, I guess I'm not making it be heard. It's going to be heard one way or another. Somebody's listening, right? Who knows? It just might all be in my head. But, like I said, I am Frankie. And I don't know how to really describe myself. I'm someone who started off as a believer, I guess, in the powers of the two-party. I've aligned myself for a while with the beliefs of a Republican. Some limited government, entrepreneurship, industrialization, capitalism. Slowly I came to realize that was a bunch of malarkey, and that there really is no difference between the red and the blue, or the white. It's all a part of the same boot of oppression. I guess each one represents the red, the soul, the blue, the boot, and the white, the laces. The stars, I guess, could be the Chuck, it has like a little Chuck T and a Chuck T symbolism. But that's not what I'm here to talk about this evening. I want to talk to you about something specific here in Fredericksburg, Texas. But before I get into it, like I said, I want to tell you a little bit more about who I am and what it is I hope to accomplish. A little more linear, I guess, geopolitical background, if you will. I went from that, like I said, from a conservative to a libertarian, or a constitutionalist to a libertarian, and I guess I fell in that category by accident of a Tea Party agent. When, slowly but surely, I realized that a lot of these things were based out of fear, and that they were still controlling people and still seeking to have the reins of what's best for you and what should be done for your life. and this is not freedom. This slowly, again, it came, it added to. I took it the same way I tell you religion and the idea or the principle of there being a God. Every religion that's established and mainstream in this world, there seems to be, everyone seems to want to have the monopoly and the passage to the creation of the universe and to the knowledge of how the universe was created. To me, this is very egotistical and makes you a bit of a jackass to claim that you have the lock on the path to all knowledge. So I guess naturally anger kicks in and frustration kicks in. So this leads me to the idea of being labeled an anarchist, because everyone all of a sudden believes, well, you just have a problem with authority and you just don't want to be told what to do, and you just don't want to be there to be any rules. You I come to realize that they might be right. They might really be right here, and they might have a very good point. I don't like rulers. I don't like authority. Never have. I was constantly kicked out of school and isolated as from the other students and out of classrooms because of my outbursts, because of the fact that I didn't like being told what to do. I didn't like being forced to learn as everybody else did, because that's not how I learned. That's not how knowledge was absorbed for me. Couldn't just be forced into a meat grinder and come out like everybody else did. Now, granted, a lot of my friends and classmates, how have you, they did come out of it. They were managed to do that. Me, not so much. I couldn't fake it till I made it, as the saying goes. I reacted, and a lot of times it was volatile, so I was removed from it. And so, yeah, I guess I came out of the womb, if you will, as an anarchist. Didn't want to be told what to do. Definitely didn't like being lectured, and I cannot stand the fact of when people try to discredit, or what's the word I'm looking for? When someone talks down or demeans, or when someone tries to demean what I'm saying just because I lack what they refer to as experience, or I lack the proper schooling. This is very disgusting and very disturbing to me. But this is what led, so like I said, and so naturally I fell into that anger phase, and a lot of people just in that confrontational mode. So a lot of people lumped me in as an anarchist, and naturally the word anarchist brought me to the word volunteerist, and and other terms such as the non-aggression principle. Are those what I am? Are those the category I fit in? If I had to fit into a box, I guess those circular abstract boxes would be the one that I would fit in, because yeah, I don't like being told what to do. I have belief in the individual and not the system in itself. I do believe that all interaction, whether it be professional, emotional, personal, or educational, should be all voluntary. No one should have to be forced into any kind of description or any kind of labeling. No one should be forced to have a lifestyle dictated for them. They should not be forced into having to go to public schools, having to be given shots, having to dress a certain way, or if they're not wearing the latest things, they shouldn't be ostracized. Or if they're not just because of their color of their skin, that all it makes them a person of a different race and creed, and so somehow diminishes who they are as a human being, disconnecting and dividing themselves from the rest of us, as if just because of my skin tone, my hair color, my eyes, or my weight, or the geographical location in which I was born, somehow makes me better or different than you. Well, I'll agree to the fact that I am different, but at a chemical, physiological basis. I am the same as you. You and I are one. All is one and one is all. Well, like I told you, so yeah, I'm a volunteerist, I'm an anarchist, I'm an anarcho-capitalist, because I believe that there is no property other than private property, that we should have the ability to gain and build. Then, you know, I've heard it a couple times that no one should be that rich. My first instinct is, who the fuck are you to tell me how rich I should be? What authority do you have to tell me or anyone how rich they should be, or how much they should be, how much they should have? It's not your place, right? But something I want to talk to you about tonight, and the reasoning, kind of what motivated tonight's podcast on, it's Wednesday evening, 10 o'clock Central Time, April 23rd. No telling when you'll listen to this, but if you do listen to this on the archive and everything like that, I thank you again, and please spread the word. We'll get into all that contact information and all that stuff later, but I want to talk to you about something recently I read here in the Fredericksburg Standard that's headline coverage, and that's the arrest of a Jeffrey, I forget his last name. Well, he is the 19-year-old individual who sold a 16-year-old and another person, a 16-year-old Sammy Herrera, now what is deemed a hallucinogen, but at the time was actually classified as a incense, and it was something that was filed in the same category as the synthetic marijuana and bath salts. So anyway, so this Jeffrey person sells this Sammy person a product. Sammy uses it and he overdoses and dies. Well, now the city of Fredericksburg, or the county of Gillespie, is charging him, this Jeremy person, or Jeffrey, with the responsibility of Sammy's death. Now, that is a very scary precedent to me, and this is very disturbing to me. First of all, my condolences to the family. I understand what it is to lose. I know I feel and I sympathize with your pain. There is not an enemy here on this voice from you. But what I'm telling you, what I'm reaching out and pleading to you, is that you are seeking vengeance. You are not looking for justice. You are looking for revenge. You know, you want an eye for an eye, and that's not fair. Because 2 other individuals are going to be prosecuted with Sammy's mistake, his decision that he made. Just as I've tried to point out to a few people that this is very disturbing, to the fact of someone selling you something and then you misusing the product, and you being then held reliable for that thing, or that individual who sold you it being held reliable for your misuse. What kind of world are we living in? I mean, I can't go, if I go buy a can of spray paint and huff it and die, is Walmart liable? Is Ace Hardware liable if they sell me 10 feet of rope and I go and hang myself? Are they held liable? Or if someone sells me a car, and MO Motor sells me a car, and I go around the corner too fast and flip the car and I die, is MO Motors responsible for my death? Is Chevy responsible for my death? I say no, that none of these other persons are responsible for that. Which got me to thinking and wondering, what is wrong with us that we think that we can? Are we ready to handle freedom? Can humanity handle freedom? And that's what led me to a short clip that I got from Adam versus the Man, and it's entitled "Can Humanity Handle Freedom?" And like I said, this had me thinking about this very situation, because here we are wanting to take the responsibility away from the individual and place it onto somebody else, and claim that we're seeking justice and that we're a land of the free. And here comes that clip.
Can humanity handle freedom? Or do we need to rely on government for peace and stability? Lots of people ask this very, very fundamental question when they first hear of the libertarian philosophy, this crazy idea that, yes, all human relations should be free of violence and force and fraud and coercion. Imagine that. Radical, crazy idea when you live in a world of violence. And the current paradigm is, yes, we need this organized gang of thugs to rule over us. Okay, well, maybe that's how the libertarian would put it. How would the statist put this? Let's examine exactly the thinking behind this perhaps not legitimate, but very common reaction that people have to this idea. And what we advocate as libertarians is not an abandonment of the legitimate functions that government provides. Certainly society needs to come together to deal with bad actors, to violent criminals, with thieves and thugs and murderers. But certainly we can find a way to deal with them that's better than, electing them to public office and giving them tax dollars and the authority to decide their own salaries. I mean, it sounds like kind of a dangerous utopian proposition, doesn't it? That we can do this. We can have some kind of rule of the majority in a democracy or in a republican form of government, which is, sorry, kiddies, still a form of democracy, and not have these consequences of the fundamental truth of what is going on here. Democracy, in its very best case scenario, is the majority coming up with an excuse to impose its will on the minority. But as we know, in reality, democracy is really just an excuse, ex post facto, for the superclass to do what they were going to do to the rest of us anyway. And by the way, so is the Republic. And if you think that the Constitution is a freedom document, let me tell you another thing here, because if you understand the history, it is an anti-freedom document, not only in and of itself, but historically is a step backwards from the Articles of Confederation that the colonies were living under until 1789, when we had that brief relative freedom here. Over there on the other side of this territory, now lorded over by the United States federal government. So this is a legitimate response to a new idea, to question it, to challenge it. Are we capable of this? Really, but perhaps you then have to ask some other questions. How is it going now with government, with the current statist paradigm? And, when we talk about the ideal of a stateless society, yes, that is very, very much achievable. Even a voluntary society, in the sense that it embraces nonviolence universally and does not tolerate it in any form, institutionalized or on an individual level. But we're not pretending that there is this perfect ideal of a voluntary society in which no one ever commits an act of aggression against anyone else. I mean, no. That would be just as utopian as saying that government can work.
And there you go. And so you might be wondering, what does that have to do with what I said was I kind of want to focus on, and that's the this case between Jeffrey and the county for, they call it, I think they're charging him with delinquency of a minor and almost, I want to say manslaughter. Either way, to be charging the individual with anything is straight out ludicrous. And the reason why I brought up this clip is because he kind of pointed out a lot of things, is because a lot of people made those arguments. Well, we have this system in place, and this is why we have to protect the children, we have to protect the masses, we have to do this. I don't want a world going around where people are just selling drugs and where people are just are allowed to do whatever they want, and you could go and you could do anything. I don't want people to have the ability to yell fire in a crowded movie theater, whatever. So yeah, like I said, I tried to have this conversation with a few people that the justice has already been served, because the individual who made the poor decision has been punished. There is no reason why anyone else has to suffer. There is no cause to make another family lose their sons, another family to not be able to develop, because now this individual and the other minor involved in the case are going to have their lives ruined. They are going to be labeled felons. They are going to have felony charges pressed against them. They are going to be looked at as murderers for their entire life, and the state is never going to have repeal that and take that away. They're never going to have a fair trial because emotions, especially in this town, because they have deep ties to the community. This individual will be looked at as some kind of scum and drag, and all the while no one looking at the real responsible person, the individual that was held responsible for the action, and that is the individual himself. Just like, ladies and gentlemen, if I choose to go out, I want you to think about it in this nature. If I choose to go out and buy cocaine, I am consciously making the effort to go and talk to people, to go into the neighborhoods, to carry the amount of money on me. I am consciously making the decision that I might be sold some bunk stuff, because apparently this is what will happen. The guy, this Jeffrey character, tried to sell the I think it was it's NMBO ME 25. It's now classified as an hallucinogen. Like I said, before, when this happened, it was on the shelf like bath salts. You had to be 18 to get it, yes. But as always, there's loopholes and ways around laws. This is why laws are retarded, that go beyond that of nature and natural common sense understanding. Anyways, so yeah, and so the guy Jeffrey tried to sell it as Molly, and so Sammy took it thinking it was Molly, and I'm guessing he had tried it before, or else you wouldn't have pressed yourself to the point of where you OD. So anyways, like I said, so you make the conscious decision, or I've made the conscious decision in this hypothetical, that I'm going to go and buy cocaine, and there's a very good possibility that someone may sell me baking soda. There's a very, very strong possibility that somebody may have fucking sold me rat poisoning, so I could die. I might not even get nothing. I might just get a gun to my face and robbed. I might get shot. Who knows? I take all these into considerations when the moment I made the decision to go and buy what they call illegal narcotics and enter into a CD, and by definition what it's defined as the black market, black, dark, underground, seedy environment. I make these decisions, and therefore I consciously or subconsciously have made the, what's the word I'm looking for? The acceptance that something negative could happen. So again, and then if something negative does happen, who's to blame? No one else has made my decisions for me. Except in the situation of the robbery, the guy put a gun to my head, and either it was my life for $50, or and my life's far greater than $50, especially Federal Reserve notes. So, anyways, other than that situation, I made all my decisions were that of a voluntary person. Now, you want to argue the fact that he was 16 when he made this decision. At 16, you're trusted with a vehicle. At 16, you can be tried as an adult in Texas. I don't know if it's nationwide, but in the state of Texas, we charge you as an adult if we feel it necessary. So anyways, so you go ahead and so he was 16. He's a year away from being able to enlist into the military, as long as he has a consent form and a GED or high school diploma. He is 2 years away from being able to vote for a president, smoke a cigarette, and work as a bartender. So yeah, he's 4 years away from being able to have the responsibility, or be old enough to have the responsibility to drink liquor. So obviously he's old enough to make these decisions on his own and to do so. So what bothers me the most here is that the fact that people want to say, well, he was a kid, he didn't know what he was doing. There's no way he could have had, understand the decisions that he was making. And again, I argue to you, obviously, that this was not the first time he had done this or attempted this, because in order to do that, and anyone who knows about the illicit world community it takes a minute to get into those doors, or to find those people and to be a part of that. So it isn't something that just happens overnight. You can't just go outside and boom, pick up crack in the street corners. Well, not in Fredericksburg, Texas. You have to at least know where to go and where to look for it. So anyways, this is a very, very disturbing trend, though, to take away the responsibility from the individual and place it onto somebody else. And the fact that you can be charged now in Fredericksburg, Texas, with the poor decisions of another individual because you sold them a product. How is this freedom? How is this representing a free market? How is this capitalism? Who would ever want to be in business in this town where, you know what, I can go ahead and I want the people of McDonald's arrested because they didn't tell me that I was gonna get cancer and get fat and become diabetic from eating McDonald's. Or, you know what, they did tell me, it says it on the packaging, it's a warning, all of their studies warning and everything, but they still sold it to me, so they should still be held accountable, they should still be held liable. So this is crazy to think about, right? And so I'm trying to figure out how we're going to play this game and how that's all going to go down. I'm going to try my best to see if I can get a word with the district attorney, Chris Nevins, or the county attorney, Chris Nevins, and see exactly what the game plan is going to be and how they're going to go ahead and take care of this. But what worries me, like I said, is that the responsibility is being taken away from the individual and being placed on somebody else. In order for us to be able to experience liberty and freedom, we have to start understanding that the individual is responsible for the individual's actions alone and cannot be blamed for someone else's. Just like I can't be blamed for whatever people do with these podcasts and these YouTube videos I do. You can't blame me for whatever they do. Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached that time again. I thank you very much for joining me on the show and having these conversations with me. If you want to have these conversations with me on a deeper level, you can reach me on Facebook or at Frankie Nieto 3 on Twitter, and let's have these talks. So just remember, anarchist be thou for the people, and I love you.
Through the best of times, through the worst of times, through Nixon and through Bush. Do you remember 36? We went our separate ways. You fought for Stalin, I fought for freedom. You believe in authority, I believe in myself. I'm a Molotov cocktail, you Dom Perignon, baby, what's that? Confused look in your eyes. What I'm trying to say is that I burn down buildings while you sit on a shelf inside of them. You call the cops on the looters and pie throwers. They call it class war, I call it co-conspirators. 'Cause baby, I'm an anarchist, you're a spineless liberal. We marched together for the 8-hour days and held hands in the streets of Seattle. But when it came time to throw bricks through that Starbucks window, you left me all alone. All alone. You watched in awe at the red, white, and blue on the 4th of July. While those fireworks were exploding, I was burning that fucker and swinging my black flag, hiding the peanuts that the parties have tossed you in the backseat of your father's new Ford. You believe in the ballot, you believe in reform, you have faith in the elephant and jackass. And to you, solidarity's a 4-letter word. We're all hypocrites, but you're a patriot. You thought I was only joking when I screamed kill Whitey at the top of my lungs, at the cops in their cars and the men in their suits. No, I won't take your hand and marry the state. 'Cause baby, I'm an anarchist, you're a spineless liberal. We marched together for the 8-hour days and held hands in the streets of Seattle. But when it came time to throw bricks through that Starbucks window, you left me all